All right, let's talk about one of Africa's most legendary animals, the African buffalo. This is a creature that's famous for being, well, terrifyingly aggressive. But there's so much more to it, a surprising social intelligence, even a deep cultural meaning. So yeah, let's get right into it.
There's this amazing quote from the hunter, Robert Ruark, that just hits the nail on the head. He looks at you as if you owe him money. I mean, wow. That perfectly captures it, doesn't it? It's not just an animal looking at you. It feels personal. It's this gaze that feels, well, full of pure, unsettling menace. And that look, that's what built the legend.
So where does this whole terrifying reputation come from? Let's kick things off by digging into the legend of the Black Death, a name this animal has definitely earned in a lot of people's minds.
Yeah, nicknames like Black Death and Widowmaker, they don't just come out of nowhere, right? They're rooted in two very simple, very real things. First, its dark, almost black coat, which makes it practically disappear in the bush. And second, its totally unpredictable aggression. That deadly combination has led to so many tragic encounters, especially for hunters.
But here's what's really wild. What separates it from just being some big, angry animal? It's the intelligence behind that aggression. We're not talking about a mindless brute here. The African buffalo has an incredible memory. Seriously, there are stories of wounded buffaloes circling back, setting up an ambush, and stalking hunters hours later. Some even say years after the first encounter. They seem to be methodical, calculated, and, well, by all accounts, pretty vengeful.
Okay, so this reputation isn't just about attitude, of course. It's backed up by some absolutely staggering physical power. Let's take a look at the actual numbers behind this unstoppable force.
Get this, a fully grown male bull can weigh up to 1,000 kilograms. That's over 2,200 pounds. To put that in perspective, that's literally the weight of a small car. Now just try to imagine all that mass, all that power, focused on one single point.
And believe me, that mass can move. A buffalo can hit a top speed of 57 kilometers per hour. That's about 35 miles per hour. So what you have is basically a 1-ton locomotive made of pure muscle and horn. And when it decides to charge, it just doesn't stop.
Now, its main weapon? Its horns. They are fused together right at the base, creating this solid shield of bone across its forehead. It's called a boss. And this thing is so unbelievably thick and dense, people say it can actually stop a bullet from a lower caliber rifle. Just incredible. Okay, so we've definitely established the monster part of the story, but that is only half of it. The real power of the buffalo isn't just in one single animal, it's in the collective genius of the herd. And this paints a completely different picture.
So let's say a predator, like a lion, attacks. The herd doesn't just panic and scatter. No way. They have this incredibly sophisticated strategy called mobbing. First, they form a defensive circle around the young and the weak, with all those massive horns facing outwards. And then, they counterattack, all together as one unified force. Entire prides of lions have been driven off or even killed by a single coordinated buffalo charge.
And this complexity, this intelligence, it extends to how they fit into the whole ecosystem. You've probably seen pictures of this. The buffalo has this really cool relationship with the oxpecker bird. It's a win-win. The bird gets a free meal by picking off ticks and other parasites, and in return, the buffalo gets a full-on cleaning service and a fantastic built-in alarm system if any danger gets close.
All right, this brings us to the buffalo's most complicated relationship of all, the one it has with us, with people. And it is a long, long history, one that's really defined by both intense conflict and, surprisingly, deep reverence. You see, long before European hunters started calling it Black Death, the buffalo was a central figure in many African cultures. It's the Nyati totem, a symbol used to organize entire clans. In some myths, it's seen as an ancestor, representing incredible power and bravery. And in a lot of folklore, it's known as the bush cow, the wild, untamable cousin of the domestic cattle that people depended on for their survival.
But that reverence has always existed right alongside a very difficult reality. Just look at this breakdown. It shows that deep conflict so clearly. On one hand, the buffalo is a source of protein, it holds huge cultural value, and it brings in tourism money. But on the other hand, it raids crops, it can transmit diseases to livestock, and it's responsible for an estimated 200 human deaths every single year. It both gives and it takes away.
So, when you put all these pieces together, the monster, the social genius, the cultural icon, the source of constant conflict, what does the buffalo truly represent? Well, it becomes more than just an animal. It becomes an emblem of the wild itself.
And I think what really truly defines it is this one simple fact. Unlike its relatives, the water buffalo in Asia, the African buffalo has never been domesticated. For thousands of years, it has completely resisted human control, remaining fundamentally, stubbornly wild.
There's this quote from Cambridge University Press that just puts it perfectly. The African buffalo is therefore an emblem of the coexistence between humans and nature in Africa. It embodies that very challenge. It's an animal that is feared and respected, hated and loved, hunted and protected. It is a living, breathing symbol of that tense but absolutely necessary relationship between us and the natural world.
So we're left with this final thought, really. This is the bush cow that refused to be tamed, the wild spirit that refuses to bend to our will. As our two worlds, the human world and the animal world, continue to collide and overlap, the ultimate question isn't about how we conquer the buffalo. It's about how we learn to coexist, how we learn to share a world with a creature that absolutely demands our respect.